This is DFW Home Talk, where we educate you on the real facts of the local real estate, credit, and finance markets, empowering you to make informed decisions for you and your family, achieve financial goals, and the dream of home ownership with financial security. Now your host, Kimberly Beckham.
In the previous segment, we were talking about a couple of the different plans that you can do to start now for your kids going to college later. And I wanted to touch on the most prominent plan. And can you help us understand about the 529 savings plans?
Sure, Kimberly. Thank you very much, and I'll do my best. But yes, you're correct. The 529 savings plans are probably the most popular vehicle for saving and funding, college for the kiddos. 529 savings plans are state-sponsored, and almost all states have them. You don't even have to live in that state to partake of that plan. They also allow, if your state has a state tax, most plans in most states allow you to deduct at least most or all of your contribution.
Oh, so interesting.
That's a really good perk, if you will. Now, the great thing about 529, similar to the Coverdale that we talked about earlier, is the withdrawals, if they're for qualified college expenses, are tax-free. So that's great. The other thing that's one of the things I like about these accounts is that they are owned, if you will, by the whoever opens them up, the parent, the grandparent. That's who owns it, and the minor or the child is the beneficiary. That's important for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's not considered an asset of the student, so it will have very limited, if any, impact on their financial aid statement, or, they're trying to qualify for financial aid. The other thing that I like about that is that unlike the trust accounts we spoke about earlier, when this child reaches 18, 21, whatever the age of maturity is, it does not become their account. It is still owned by who opened the account.
So they can't take those funds and go off and just have a heyday overseas somewhere.
There you go.
And blow all that money. It has to be used for college expenses.
Yes, it for a qualified higher education expense. Yes. Okay. Now, the IRS, because they're giving you tax-free access to this money, just like they do with IRAs, they're going to require you, the owner, to, if that child has reached, in some states it's 30, in most it's 31, the money has to be taken out at that point if you have not used it to that point.
Okay. Do you have to pay tax against that when it comes out?
Yes. If it's not being used. In other words, if the child never went to college, you never used it for higher education, and the child's now 31, yes, that would be, you'd owe income tax on the growth of anything, and you have to pull it out at that point.
Okay, so, and that's at the age of the child hitting 30?
30 or 31. I think it varies from state to state. I would say for the most part, 31 is pretty common.
Okay.
Now, the other thing I like about 529s, and you just touched on it because you are a grandparent, and I commend you for doing what you're doing for your grandkids, is that anyone can contribute to a 529. Certainly relatives, but even friends can contribute. So it's very flexible from that standpoint.
Well, that was one of the things I did for the grandbabies for their first birthday. Is they get enough toys, they get enough clothes, is I open them up a 529 plan, and that was their birthday present, and every special occasion is we contribute to that. Their birthdays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, is I put funds in that because I don't want my grandkids to, as they get older, to turn around and be struggling or make it a decision of going to college or not because they can't afford it.
Great. And again, I commend you for that. And that's exactly right. In fact, I tell a lot of clients, potential clients, or just people I talk to about this, if the child is very young like your grandkids are, tell friends and family that until that kid gets old enough to really, start demanding toys, say, hey, we'd prefer, you send a contribution for their 529.